Of the Delaware State University team, it is my hope also that the university will host the next year's annual meeting at our newly acquired location on Wilmington's riverfront. So let's all send positive intentions for next year's meeting. There are a number of noteworthy guests that are with us this evening that I would like to call your attention to. And they are Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, Senator Elizabeth Lockman, Senator Marie Pinckney, Dr. Tony Allen, and Director Eugene Young. To each of our guests, the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League appreciates your attendance tonight and looks forward to our ongoing relationship with each of you as we strive to make the city and state a place where all people can thrive successfully. So here we are again to hear about the accomplishments of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League in our efforts to achieve our mission to empower people of color to achieve economic self-reliance, parity, and civil rights. In a few minutes, you'll hear that information. Later, you will also hear from our new CEO and president, Jennifer Thompkins, about plans to move us forward under her leadership and the synergy resulting from her coming on board. The Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League is excited about this new leadership and believes that Jennifer has the kind of innovative thinking, collaborative mindset, and progressive attitude to advance a social impact agenda that will benefit Black and Brown people throughout the state. To say that the Metropolitan Urban League has Herculean work to do to address many of the plagues that haunt Black and Brown people throughout the state and around the country is an understatement. But to say that the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League is committed to making a difference in the lives of Black and Brown residents is also an understatement. Working together, we have and will continue in our commitment to transform lives by doing our part to correct imbalances and gaps that have historically and disproportionately impacted the underserved. Thank you for attending to our accomplishments and insights at tonight's meeting. But I would be remiss if I didn't challenge you to join the MWUL movement. Larger membership means larger impact. Greater, more diverse expertise means greater, more diverse delivery. Join us and let's work together to make a strategic difference. With that, and at this point, I'd like to welcome Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester to make her remarks. Due to unforeseen circumstances, she must leave us early tonight and is asked to be placed on this evening's agenda earlier than later. Congresswoman.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for the introduction. And to you, the board members, my fellow former CEOs, members of the Guild, the YPs, donors, supporters, and the Urban League family, good evening. I do want to begin by thanking you for rearranging the schedule of your annual meeting so that I could speak. As all of you are probably well aware, Russia has declared war on Ukraine, and the situation is evolving very quickly. I will be leaving this event to join a congressional briefing that was called this evening unexpectedly. And so I just wanted you all to know that Iris Turner, our Director of Grants and Outreach, is also on the Zoom and will be here to represent us well. Tonight's annual meeting serves as an opportunity for the League to highlight the accomplishments of the past, but also to propel us into the future. And this year's meeting is extra special because we are passing the torch to the Urban League's newest CEO, Jennifer Thompkins. In light of a global pandemic that highlighted disparities and inequities in our communities, the need for social justice and criminal justice reform, and equal economic educational opportunities, and also protecting the right to vote, we know that the League is needed now more than ever. And so I want to pick up where Patty left off and just encourage everyone to become members, to support the League in every single way that you can, because now is the time. I just wanted to let you know that the congressional delegation stands ready to partner and support the League in our common mission. And also, I want to make sure that Jennifer knows that while we know there will be some tough times, there is a real family of urban leaguers that will be there to provide that insight, wisdom, support, get feedback from you, and leadership from you. Again, to my Urban League family, I just want to say thank you so much for all that you have done for communities of color in our state, and also for your steadfast work. And I will never, ever forget that our saying is, once an urban leaguer, always an urban leaguer. So family is family. I'm so glad to be a part of the family. And I just wish you luck tonight in this annual meeting. And I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and work with you as we move into the future. Have a great night.
Let us pray. Eternal God, in this hour, we invoke your power to do the work of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League. We do what we do, as Leon Sullivan once said, to Americanize America, not to make it more white or Eurocentric as some would believe, but to make it live up to its promise of being the land of the free for all people, and not just a select few. To Americanize America, where we truly believe every baby, even Black and brown babies, can grow up to be president of the United States, or a Supreme Court justice, or a director of the National Institute of Health, or a US representative or senator. To Americanize America, where we are the wealthiest nation in the world, not because a preponderance of wealth is in the hands of a few, but because poverty and economic injustice have been eliminated, and parity of opportunity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights for people of color can become a reality. It is in your justice and your righteousness that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. For the adoption of the minutes, we're going to bring them up on the screen. They were sent to all members electronically. So if you can just take a moment to review and skim through. And I'll entertain a motion to adopt the annual minutes, the minutes from our 2020 annual meeting.
Second.
And who was that second? Thank you. It has been properly moved by Joe Cobbage and seconded by James Vincent. Are there any objections? No objections. The minutes from the 2020 annual meeting held on February the 2nd of 2021 have been adopted.
Good evening, members, friends, supporters, board members, and staff of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League. I too welcome you to our 21st annual meeting. It has been my distinct honor to serve as your interim president and CEO for these past 6 months. I am pleased to report to you today on the many successes we achieved together during this past year. While faced with the ongoing COVID pandemic, your Urban League strived and provided critical relief and support services to the residents of our community. However, before reviewing our successes, I want to publicly acknowledge the support that I received from our board of directors and staff. Thank you, Dr. Patrice William Johnson, board chair, Ray Jones Avery, vice chair, and Joel Coppage, transition committee chair. Thank you for selecting and trusting me to serve in this role and providing the necessary supports I needed to make my stay in Wilmington a rewarding experience. Thank you, Simone Philpotts, for your support during this period. The accomplishments we made would not have been possible without your knowledge of the agency and your dedication and loyal support during this transition period. Even though my time here has been short, I do consider myself a member of the Wilmington Urban League family, and I hope that you all feel the same. Thank you. As you look at this current slide, you will note that we began 2022 100% debt-free. This was accomplished through negotiations that were begun by former President Eugene Young. Thanks to his support, we were able to successfully work with Discover Bank to receive a grant that completely paid off all of our debt. Thank you, Matthew Parks, Vice President for Discover Bank, for continuing to partner with the Wilmington Urban League and for the key role you played at Discover Bank to make this happen. Your support will allow us to continue to expand our services in the greater Wilmington community by freeing up resources that would otherwise be used to reduce debt. Next slide, thank you. Next year, in this past year, we were able to expand our services to our community through expanded program funding. Our Achievement Matters program, which is coordinated by Shannon Griffin, continue to operate in 2 schools, A.I. DuPont Middle and Thomas Edison Charter School. But most importantly, this year was the first year that the schools actually funded the Urban League to operate these service-based learning programs. So our Achievement Matters program provides academic support and service learning opportunities to 50 students. Despite the pandemic, our James H. Gilliam Senior Fellowship Program, operated under the direction of Drew Sears and Cheyenne Miller, continues to excel. This 10-month immersive fellowship program has trained 55 fellows since 2018, and many of our graduates now serve in leadership positions in government, the private sector, and the nonprofit arena. Our graduates continue to rate this program very high for its effectiveness. Our Building People Power Consortium, again under the direction of Cheyenne Miller, continues to thrive. I call this a consortium because it is a grassroots partnership between the Urban League and several well-known community organizations: the American Civil Liberties Union, Community Legal Aid Society, and Working Families Party. Through our collaborations, we have hired community advocates to actually knock on doors and provide Delawareans who were most impacted by the pandemic needed information so that they can have access to legal services and to rental assistance programs to help them better navigate the eviction process. Next slide. We at the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League do not believe in working in silos. We continue to seek out partners in our community to provide effective, comprehensive services to our constituents. No partnership is more critical to our children's future than our partnership with the Wilmington Center for Education Equity and Policy. Our WCEE partnership continues to fight for education equity across the state of Delaware for Black and Brown students, using a three-pillar approach of advocacy, community organizing, and research. Through their advocacy and research, WCEEP, through its seat on the Reading Consortium, was successful in its efforts to get the Delaware General Assembly to approve $10.4 million to expand the Early Childhood Assistance Program. These 600 additional seats are reserved for 3 and 4-year-olds living in our most vulnerable communities. We also continue to treasure our partnerships with the Network Delaware and Network Connect, as well as our other partners that are listed on the slide. While my report serves as a brief summary of our accomplishments, you'll find a more detailed listing in our annual report. So I urge all of you to please review our 2021 annual report in detail and to continue your support of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League. Having spent time with our incoming CEO, I am sure the Wilmington Urban League is in great hands and will continue to be a premier service provider for our poor and underserved communities moving forward. Next slide. In closing, I again thank the staff, Simone, Cheyenne, Kyle, for your outstanding support during this period of transition. I also thank this dynamic and resourceful board of directors, a board that launched a 2-week campaign that resulted in the board membership of over $12,000 with nearly 100% board participation. It has been my honor to serve under you. Thank you and good night.
Tonight, I'll be reporting on behalf of our treasurer, Earl Jeter, who sends his regrets. Earl is actually celebrating his birthday today. Anything to get out of doing this. And his family was actually planning a surprise party, and him and I were discussing this. And I encouraged him that that was more important, and I promised that I would not screw this up. Tonight, I'm very pleased to report that the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League's financial outlook is very positive. I would characterize it as being on the rise. Y'all can clap. I said positive. Taking a step back, my role as chair of the transition committee, first assignment I received from my boss, Ray Jones, was to bring on an interim CEO. We did that with Bill Clark. He just finished the report. Tonight is Bill's last official visit here with us. He made several visits. He has one additional assignment, a closeout report that he will provide to our incoming CEO. And I wanted to publicly thank Bill for everything he's done. He has been tremendous. That he decided to stay after the first encounter that we had, because I had to call at 6 o'clock in the morning and tell him to turn around due to a weather storm, and he had already driven 2 hours to get to this location. So Bill, thank you for everything.
Thank you.
So bringing Bill on, along with Simone, who was tremendous, the transition committee, Ray, myself, we rolled up our sleeves and we went to work. The first assignment was to do a forecast for Q3 and Q4. The initial outlook presented some challenges. We had a very difficult situation that we were discovering, which looked like it was going to be a deficit projection. And that would require us, it was sizable enough that it looked like it would require us to use, if not most all, of our reserve fund balance. To us, that was unacceptable. In order to avoid this scenario, we needed to do two things: keeping it simple and keeping it plain. We had to increase revenue and reduce debt. Now it sounds simple. What to do was definitely simple. The challenge was how to do it. And so we had to put together some financial projections that got us to a better place. So we did that. How did we get there? Let's look at the financial highlights for 2021. Our balance sheet, end of year, very strong, shows two very important things. Very strong liquidity, cash on hand of $183,000, and a significant reduction in debt. I would characterize our balance sheet at the end of the year as being very healthy. Move to the next slide, and we look at our income P&L statement. Although we had an overall year-end net loss of $15,000, $15,000 could have been much deeper deficit if we had not had a strong finish to the fourth quarter. We had a very strong fourth quarter, specifically the month of December, where we received 49% of our annual income in 1 month. 1 month. This included receiving a $150,000 grant from Discover. Thank you, Discover. As a result, we used this grant to pay off the M&T Bank outstanding debt that we had. That was the really only true long-term debt that we had. I'd like to thank our former president and CEO, Eugene Young, current director of housing, for initiating the deal with Discover, and Simone Philpotts for taking it across the finish line. Thank you both. We also ended the year with a carryover fund balance of $272,000, which is a great launching pad going into 2022. We wanted to make sure, Jennifer, you got everything you need. So let's move to the next slide, look at the budget for 2022. So for 2022, bottom line, we increased our budget 23%. That's growth compared to 2021. We are projecting a $67,000 net income and an increase to our year-end fund balance of $339,000. Revenue projections are $777,000 and some change. And what I'd like to point out is this includes some really solid renewals of grants, Grant Aid, Delaware State Housing, good grants that renewed with us. And the one big home run hitter, the Longwood Foundation. We received an award for $300,000. Very happy to report that we received the full amount in-house in the bank as of this month. So $300,000 covers 2 years. We're going to put half in deferred reserve account. I'd like to thank again Eugene Young. You just walked in. Right? I apologize. That's okay. Eugene Young for initiating the deal on getting that started. Bill and everybody else who visited, Simone and our board chair who met with the Longwood Foundation folks to make that a reality. So our 2022 situation looks very good. It's very promising. And I'm glad we have a great start for 2020.
Thank you. So I will be brief. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So I want to begin by thanking the current members of the governance committee. Thank you for all the work that you put in this year. And I want to announce that we have LaShawn McCray, a representative of the YPs, joining us this year. So we're excited to work with her. And we are looking forward to having another board member join the governance committee this year as well. Next slide. So in 2021, we went through the process of reviewing the bylaws, and we were able to adopt new bylaws in October. We also made sure that the organization was in compliance with all requirements in reference to board terms and other actions. We developed an attendance tracker, and we also supported the Guild in the creation of their bylaws. Next slide. The things we're planning on working on, so we are excited that we have successfully recruited new board members. We'll be electing them tonight officially. We will be creating an orientation for our new board members. One thing that we started last year but we didn't complete was the creation of a financial contribution policy that's really going to be focused on board giving. We also want to work on developing a records retention policy in line with the requirements of 501c3 organizations. We also want to ensure that all of our members actually have membership cards, either electronically or hard copy. And then one role of the governance committee generally is the maintenance of an active list of potential board candidates. So we'll continue to work on that process. And of course, we'll be working with the staff in planning next year's annual meeting. If anyone's ever interested in learning more information about governance committee, feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kari DeWitt, and I am president of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League Guild. Pleased to provide our 2021 report. For those who don't know, the Guild is the auxiliary arm of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League, and we were established in 2005. Guilders are the heart and soul of the Urban League movement, providing many volunteer hours each year and connecting the Urban League's mission to the communities that we serve. In 2021, we adopted revisions to our bylaws. The most significant one is aligning our membership term to the calendar year. In 2021, we had 30 paid members and raised over $2,100 from membership dues and fundraisers. In 2022, we have a few goals. One is formalizing our membership process and benefits. Two, we'd like to create a dedicated Guild checking account and ensure we have the correct and proper financial processes. We will also partner with the Young Professionals and Fund Development Committee on membership events. And we will continue hosting our health and wellness events for trauma victims. We host a 8-week trauma program dealing with health and wellness and giving individuals a recovery plan. This year, we also have a golf fundraiser planned in conjunction with Education First Golf Academy in Wilmington for Monday, October 3rd. And that will benefit the Renee Dujon Scholarship Fund. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. I am Danielle Clark. I am the current president of the YP chapter. I want to thank you for your time, and I'm proud to present to you what the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League Young Professionals have accomplished this past year. Starting with February 2021, in Join Week, we hosted a couple of different programs that help bring membership in. Creating Your Community Impact Plan was an event that launched on February 10th, 2021. And we also, for our social piece, hosted a Love and Lockdown, a panel discussion on love and dating in the COVID-19 era. That was a social piece that we hosted or presented for our members and prospective members last February 2021. National Day of Service 2021 was one of our successful programs as well. Now we hosted national programming for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. That by May of 2021, we had hosted on the 19th of May, our virtual advocacy day. May 2021 elections took place, and we introduced our new team, which included myself, Danielle Clark, as the YP president, Mr. Jason McCall as our YP vice president, Ms. Shadar Strange, our YP secretary, and at the time, Leland Silver, YP treasurer, and that concluded our executive committee. Our executive leadership team included all listed above, as well as Ms. Vanessa Carpe, our programs chair, LaShawn McCray, our civic engagement chair, Kenyon Wilson, our membership chair, Nadia Lacey, our marketing chair, Alexander Hackett, our education and youth chair, and the amazing Ashley Lockwood of our Kent County. She was our Kent County chair. Speaking of Kent County, September 2021 Unsung Hero Awards is one of our most successful fundraisers. We sold 125 tickets and graciously accepted 110 in attendance. This was the first time that this event had been hosted in Dover since 2019. And we were blessed to have our keynote speaker, the Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, headline our event. By the time October 2021 hits, the YP Guild and us hosted a meet and greet at the House of Laughs in Wilmington, Delaware, that allowed our members to be able to come out and meet all of their leadership team, put faces to the names pretty much. From November to December 2021, Kent County Committee, in partnership with 211, Boscovs, and others, held a Winter Wonderland coat drive. We ended the year of 2021 with a holiday party that the YPs and the Guild joined together and at a newly opened Black-owned restaurant in downtown Wilmington called Amity Bistro. That concluded our year 2021. Our first event that we had this year, Join Week, YP Reloaded. We started out with our open house, which reviewed the history of the Urban League and the YPs, and it gave us another opportunity to introduce our committee chairs. We also hosted a very successful and very informative and very enlightening series. It began the Millennial Mindset series titled Young, Black, and Political. It was a roundtable discussion. It was hosted by Mr. Kobe Owens. The panelists include Councilwoman Sharnae Darby, Mr. Jordan Hines, Rashima Dixon, Alexander Hackett, and Cheyenne Miller. We ended this event with a speed dating event that was our social piece for the event. We have also hosted between 2021 and 2022, 2 text and phone bank campaigns. The first one last year, which was the National Urban League's push towards the Crown Act 2021. And this year was our efforts in order to reconnect and stay connected to our membership body. I am proud to announce that last year we had a total of 65 members. Since then, we have added 30 members, giving us a total of 95 members currently. And we've added 5 since the new year, since Join Week. In our near future, we expect to host other events that will increase our engagement and civic awareness and civic activity. Our expungement fair of 2022 is what we look forward to, which will be held and led by our civic engagement chair, Ms. LaShawn McCray. And that concludes our meeting. I'm sorry, our presentation.
We are now at a point in the program where we would like to move into our election of directors on the board. Before we get started with introducing our newest board members, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge our current board members. It's just important that they know that we appreciate them, and we certainly would like for you to know who is serving on this committee and moving the Urban League forward with much of the positive news that you've heard this evening. First, I'd like to acknowledge Ray Jones Avery, Vice Chair. We kind of recognize Ray as being the boss around here. We really do want to let her know how much we appreciate her. Joel Coppage. Is also here with us this evening. Skip Pennell is not with us, but certainly is a significant board member and contributor. Earl Jeter, which we heard was unable to make it this evening. We have Sylvia S. Banks, who is with us. Reverend Lawrence Livingston, who you've heard from. BB Coker, who is also with us this evening. Tim Devlin, Danielle Clark, Paul Herdman, Corey DeWitt, Brenda Wise, Tamara Smith, Pia Stokes, Jane Vincent, whose term is ending today, but we certainly will let her know how much we appreciate her and will miss her. And Sylvia Roberts, whose term is ending today. With that, we will acknowledge our newest board members.
We conducted an election in accordance with our bylaws, which allows membership to elect new board members during the annual meeting. Members were provided notice and voted electronically. The 5 individuals, Taylor West, Ronald Kimbrough, Yesenia Taveras, G. Stephen Williams, and Matthew Parks, were listed on the slate and were duly elected to serve a 3-year term beginning today, February the 24th, 2022.
Taylor West. Taylor R. West currently serves as the Deputy Director of the Department of Human Resources for the City of Wilmington. A rising human resources executive, Taylor is an innovative and empathetic leader who merges her passion for advocacy and the advancement of others with her sound, strategic business judgment. Taylor was honored to receive a pro bono distinction upon her graduation from Delaware Law School in 2016. And she continues her commitment to service through her career in the public sector, which includes her work as an assistant city solicitor for the City of Wilmington and in Delaware's Office of Anti-Discrimination, where she enforced laws prohibiting employment discrimination. Taylor is personally and professionally committed to the service of others and the advancement of equity and justice for Black and Brown communities, which have been historically and systemically marginalized.
Age and myself, I've known Taylor since my whole life. So we're so happy to have you with us.
Ron Kimbrough. Ron is an accomplished financial services professional with over 15 years of experience in new business development, process re-engineering, and project management. Ron is currently a senior vice president in city treasury and trade solutions, focused on driving revenue expansion and realization for global corporate clients. Ron earned his BS and MBA from Wilmington University after graduating from the U.S. Naval Academy School in Newport, Rhode Island. He lives in Wilmington, Delaware with his wife and 2 children and is a life member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Ron is excited about the opportunity to join and make a meaningful contribution to the execution of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban Leagues. And next we have Yesenia Taveras. Yesenia started advocating for the needs of underrepresented groups as a high school student when she was selected by the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League's National Achiever Society to host its first youth talk show called We the Students, which gave kids in Delaware a chance to use their voice and speak about issues they wouldn't normally discuss with adults. She enjoyed the art of storytelling so much that she pursued the craft in college and graduated with a degree in communications from Morgan State University. Yesenia is a national award-winning Hispanic journalist, television talk show host, and national public speaker. With 20 years of experience in the media, public relations, digital media marketing, and advertising industry, Yesenia has worked for the Police Athletic League of Delaware, United Healthcare Community Plan of Delaware, ESPN, Philadelphia's Channel 6 ABC, Def Jam Records, Black Enterprise Magazine, Career Communications Group, Delaware Comcast Channel 28, the City of Wilmington's WITN 22 government TV station, and Wilmington City. Yay. Our final two are G. Stephen Williams. He is a thoughtful advocate whose unique approach has elevated numerous organizations towards the achievement of their goals. As a member of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League's Young Professionals Board, he expanded the affiliates' reach in the community and increased membership by 90+. His commitment to the Urban League would later extend beyond his local roots. As a professional staffer on the U.S. House Committee on Homeland Security, he collaborated with the National Urban League on a federal measure focused on workforce policy and reform. His passion for economic mobility within marginalized communities has pushed forward many initiatives through his government consulting firm and political action committee. He embodies the characteristics of a visionary leader, bringing a sense of duty and also persistence that will be of great benefit to the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League Board of Directors. Next, we have Matthew Parks. Matthew has a diverse banking background that has expanded with responsibility for over 3 decades. He was named Discover Bank's Community Reinvestment Act Officer and has led the origination and management of over $1.2 billion in community impact investments. In the Delaware community, Matt serves on the board of the Delaware Bankers Association and is the board president of the Milford Housing Development Corporation, a nonprofit, multifamily and single-family housing developer with over $55 million in community assets. Matt is also a proud founder and the chairman of the board of the Stepping Stones Community Federal Credit Union, which was the first credit union chartered post the Great Recession. He is engaged with several organizations who seek to serve small businesses and entrepreneurs and has been a successful business owner of his own retail business for the past 15 years.
The lifeline of any not-for-profit organization is the commitment of its funders. Here in Wilmington, we have outstanding supporters who share in our mission and provide the needed resources to empower our organization. At this time, I am pleased to introduce the Reverend Dr. Lawrence Livingston, Chair of the agency's fundraising committee, to acknowledge our funders for 2021. Reverend Livingston.
Thank you. I'm the Development Committee Chairperson, as Mr. Clark has already said. And our mission here with the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League is to promote parity or equity of opportunity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights for people of color, who in the history of our nation, these things have been denied. But we cannot accomplish this mission without partners, not just funders, but partners who also desire equity, economic independence, and civil rights for all people in our society. We've already heard some of the good news about our funders. We want to acknowledge some of these partners, funders, that have partnered with us to accomplish our mission. First of all, I want to acknowledge the City of Wilmington, who has worked with us in the Wilmington Center for Education and Equity Policy. And then also we've received great support from the grant and aid from the state of Delaware, and they have partnered with us in the Achievement Matters program. And then one that we're very excited about that you heard already, the Longwood Foundation. They have given us a very generous grant to work on operations, and that grant will help us to build our capacity to be able to advance our mission. Also, an operations grant, Lack McHugh has given us a grant as well. And then again, that will help us to develop our capacity and further our mission. Cortiva has also given a grant that works with, and they work with us on the urban agricultural project. And the Bank of New York, Mellon, provided a grant for a COVID-19 supply relief. JP Morgan Chase, they've supported us or partnered with us, as I continue to say, with the Gilliam Fellows and the Achievement Matters program. The Welfare Foundation has worked with us in workforce development study. DuPont also the Gilliam Fellows and the Achievement Matters program. Delaware Humanities has partnered with us with professional development and strategic planning. Last but not least, we received a very generous grant from Discover, and that helped us with the elimination of our debt, which you have already heard some about. These are our partners, not just funders, but partners who have generously supported our work. Not only are we thankful for your support, but also on behalf of the community that we serve, we want to say thank you for them as well. Thank you.
Again, we've come to a part in the program where we want to acknowledge a number of people for their service, for their commitment to the organization, and to let them know how very much we appreciate all that they have done. As I mentioned earlier, we have one member that is whose term is ending today and who's rotating off of the board. So could I ask Jane Benson to come forward, please? She is a founding member. She is a founding member of the Urban League. She came on board at a time when we were really trying to pull it all together, at the urging of my dad, James Gilliam Sr., who you all know, I'm sure, has been the person who, along with Renee DeJean, who really pulled the Urban League together. The important thing about serving on this board is that it's voluntary. We don't get paid for being on this board. And Jane's been with us for some difficult times, and times when we were starting at the same time when we were struggling a little bit. So she's made significant contributions to the board. She holds a very special place in my heart. And we want to say we'll miss you and thank you so much for everything that you've done. The next award is again for service. You've heard this person mentioned throughout most of this evening because she has significantly worked with us for any number of years. She's worked as a YP, has continued to move the Urban League forward as we have continued to do many things. She has filled in innumerable ways to make sure that we kept our doors open and we continue to do the work that was put before us. We really, really, really would like to take a moment just to let her know how much we really appreciate her. So Simone, Phil Potts. For recognition of service to Simone Phil Potts for outstanding work and commitment. So we really, really appreciate you, Simone. The next award is one that we really spend a lot of time kind of thinking through when we want to give awards and to whom we believe really epitomizes the work of the league and can really kind of take away an acknowledgement of the work that they do. And we are at a point where we really want this person to recognize that even though we had to endure much, what should I say, threats to end her participation on the board and to help us work through three CEO president searches. We could not have done it without Sylvia Banks. want to honor you with the Chairperson's Award. You have just, it says for meritorious service in our work. You have certainly done that and more. We'll get back in touch with you if we get tired of us. But no, we really appreciate all the work that you've done, and we believe that your work has really led us to a very, very good
Amen.
selection. So, again, can we give them all a round of applause? So it has been said that the endurance of the village sits on the shoulder of those who serve. It's my honor to invite those who have served the MWUL well as presidents and CEOs to now come forward to pass the torch on to our new CEO and president. As you know, Congressman Blunt Rochester has already made her remarks and has already passed the torch. I'm asking now that Dr. Tony Allen make his remarks, followed by the Honorable Eugene Young.
Madam Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm sorry I couldn't be with you all. I think everybody knows I would do anything for the Metropolitan Urban League, except for miss the opportunity to see Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Ralph, Johnny, the best boy band of all time, New Edition, who's playing in Philly. So after join you mobile, I'm on my way to see my boys.
Enjoy.
But Jennifer, I just want to say this is a special place. They say in crisis, there's always opportunity. And that is certainly true for our people and our movement. And it's certainly been true for this institution. There's a whole lot of love around you. And there's a spirit of great reflection, energy, and urging that you do the things that need to be done, particularly when they're hard. Jim Gilliam, the founder of this great organization, always told me and so many others, don't miss your moment. And I think when he said it, he was never talking about my own success, but what I would do for others. So to you, I would say, it's your moment. Don't miss it. Serve us well and know we are right by your side. When you see us, when you don't see us, we are helping you lead the path for so many others in this wonderful community of ours. Welcome and God bless you.
All right. Good evening. Ms. Ray said keep it short, so I'm going to do just that. Jennifer, this is an amazing moment. This is going to be a great journey for you. Being now a former president, CEO of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League, I can say that it's going to haze you. I've never been part of a fraternity or of any sort, but it is a hazing. But you know, as they oftentimes say, if you're not stressed, you can't grow, right? And so this 4 years was amazing for me, and I know it'll be even better for you. One of the things that, you know, I've said is like, our job is to, you know, do better, make it a little bit better than it was when we got here.
That's right.
And, you know, I feel like there are certain things that Tony did, President Dr. Allen did, our Congresswoman did, that helped me into being able to be of impact here. And I think all we can hope is that the efforts that we do can be part of, you know, the runway so that you are able to fly and have this Urban League take off as it should. I seriously want to thank out all of the board members, all the new board members, everyone that has given a part of this, because this is a true community effort. We've arrived like the Phoenix, arise from the ashes like the Phoenix, and it's because of the hard work of so many others. And please know that I will always be here. Tony will always be here. Congressman will be here. You know, it was interesting when on some of my hardest times, I could call and count on people and to give advice or insight. I even took this job. I don't think I expressed it to Tony, but I remember there were 3 people, Tony Saran, you'll meet him, and Paul Calistro, that told me, you have to take this job. And I remember saying to myself, and then Saran doubled down and told me, he said, Tony is the guy we all of our age group that we all kind of look to, like the older brother. Wouldn't you want to take the job of someone that's doing amazing things right now? And wouldn't you see that as a good opportunity, but a more important opportunity to give? And it really was truly life transformational for me.
Yeah.
And I can't thank those guys enough for pushing me to do it. And thank you all of you for helping me to be here. And Jennifer, just know that I'm here at any point in time. I'm a little all over the place, as most people will tell you. But when you get me, I'm good. So thank you all. Please continue to the great work. And I will say this lastly, you know, the work, it continues on. Even though you may be off the board, but you're always on board. And so I really want to stress that to all of us, like once you're pricked, that's it. You're part of the family, there's no running away. Thank you all. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for helping along this process. It's been a beautiful 3.5-year run, and I owe it all to you all. And Jennifer, you'll even have even that much more to help you take off next year. Thank you so much. Yes, we have. Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Jennifer Thompkins, the new president and CEO of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League.
Woo, say it loud.
Thank you to Dr. Patrice Gilliam, our chairman of the board, and to all of the board of directors, to our past interim CEO, Bill Clark, I cannot thank you enough. To Dr. Tony Allen and Director Eugene Young, thank you so much for the encouraging messages that you all gave. I am so honored to be in the long tradition of change agents in the city of Wilmington. Since 1999, Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League has promoted and pursued racial justice, advocacy, and civic engagement. Our impact includes our Achievement Matters program, which serves youth and hundreds of families in the Wilmington area. Our James H. Gilliam program, created in the spirit of James Gilliam, a committed civil rights advocate. It prepares Black and Brown people for lives in civil service. Our Ella Baker program, which prepares deeply committed Black and Brown people to community organizing and empowerment. In partnership with Network Delaware and many other partnerships, are building People Power Campaign, which is a grassroots multi-issue effort to propel racial justice across the state of Delaware through 6 campaigns in 6 key areas. And those areas are health, criminal justice, education, housing, economics, and police reform. And our work with the Wilmington Center for Education, Equity, and Policy, who works to make exceptional education a reality for Black and Brown children in the Wilmington area. It is in this rich tradition of passion and leadership that our auxiliary groups, the Guild, and our young professionals empower through community engagement programming and fundraising efforts. This is all possible due to our extremely dedicated staff and all the volunteers who work tirelessly day in and day out to guarantee our programs and our auxiliary groups are making an impact. Our staff and volunteers have heeded the call
that the good theologian Howard Thurman so eloquently states as this: ask yourself what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is alive people. Every life touched through our programs has been because alive people who are committed to the work and to the mission show up every single day ready to make an impact. And I just want to say thank you. This is what the League is all about. It's about the alive and the impact stories. It is about the dedication of the staff, the passion of our volunteers, and the commitment of our members, our funders, and our partners. And many of us have our own personal stories about the League's impacts on our life. My story begins with my great-grandmother, Ruth Thompkins, who in the 1940s, with only a few dollars in her pocketbook, in determination traveled from Plum Branch, South Carolina to Philadelphia with her eyes set on a dream and a promise. When she arrived in Philadelphia, it was the Urban League who assisted her in finding a job, who assisted her in also finding housing. It was the foundation the Urban League gave her that enabled her to buy a home and build generational wealth for our family. Then the Urban League entered my life again when I was a student in college. And I was researching the Great Migration and found that both Coretta Scott King and her sister were employees of the Urban League during their college days and used the network of the Urban League to further their educational pursuits. It was the Urban League that provided Coretta Scott a job at a mail order company. And this job enabled her to stay and pay for college, in Boston, and thus meeting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Then I encountered the Urban League when working in Philadelphia and building Urban League programs and partnerships with corporations, government and education sectors, and other nonprofits. And now to be in this current position of leading out the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League as its 5th president proves the impact of the Urban League is deep and also multi-generational. It proves over and over again that the Urban League is not a moment, but it is a movement. And the baton has to be passed and carried by every single generation. As we continue the work in the Metropolitan Wilmington area, we look to create youth programs and partnerships with corporations, nonprofit organizations, and agencies to create intentional career pipelines for Black and Brown students across the Wilmington metropolitan area. To make higher education a further reality with intentional partnerships with local colleges and universities, and also creating a formalized Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League Youth Scholarship Program to assist in college costs. For those who are jobless or for those who have a hard time finding a job, further support and training workforce programs so that they can obtain a livable wage in order to support their families. Out of all 50 states, the state of Delaware has the largest hike of rent prices, increasing over 12.5% between 2019 and 2021. A hike that vastly affected Black and Brown people. We know the way to wealth in America is through home ownership, and unfortunately, only 40% of African Americans are homeowners in comparison to 70% of whites. Home buying programs that counsel on loans and credit will begin that generational wealth for many Black and Brown families, like the generational wealth that was created by my great-grandmother. For over 20 years, the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League has proven that it hasn't been a moment, but you have been a movement that continues to strengthen, a movement that continues to build, and a movement that continues to thrive. And as we continue in this movement, as we continue moving forward, we strive to leave this metropolitan Wilmington area and this world a much better place and a much more equitable place than the world that was given to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. We look forward to working with you, and I think we can all see the passion that Jennifer brings to this job. So in closing, I had a conversation with our boss, Ray Avery. And said I was kind of trying to think about how I might wrap things up this evening. And she said, well, try a poem. So as I look around the room and I see all of us with our Urban League pins on, I do have a poem that I want to present called Every Night and Everywhere, which is an author unknown. But every time I mention the pocket watch in this poem, please think about the pin on our lapel. So every night, everywhere. We share this pocket watch moon hanging from a chain of stars. We are children of Africa, Asia, South America, North America, Europe, and Australia. And we share this pocket watch moon invisibly holding hands across dirt and ocean and language. We look up to read its face. We look down to see its smile reflected in our streams and ponds. We are children who may never meet, but still we share this pocket watch moon, this brightness, this hope. So may we all move forward with hope. May we all continue to reach out to those that we don't know, who we may not have an opportunity to interact with on a day-to-day basis, to continue to do this very, very important work that we're doing. Have a good night. We look forward to seeing you all soon. Be safe and Godspeed.